Hello everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to Doki Doki Panic, which we're actually going to be playing on an original Famicom Disk System, so the real hardware that you would have played it on back in the day, if you lived in Japan, I suppose. It also means that we actually get to, have fun inserting the disc into the front of the console instead of just loading up a ROM, although at least it would be fun if I wasn't, terrified of these things. The discs that go into the disk system are very finicky. They don't even have dust covers or anything like that. It doesn't really feel like they were made to last, 25, 30 years. So I am always kind of afraid putting them in and taking them out, just because you never know, it might go in the wrong way or something like that and get eaten by the machine. But here goes nothing, inserting the disc into the front of the console. Just like that, and without pressing any buttons, it instantly starts loading the game. Of course, that Famicom Disk System boot-up music is the same music you get on the GameCube kind of menu screen, just that version's much more slowed down. And here we are on the title screen. Top right there it says Yume Koujou Dream Factory, and in those blasts there it says Doki Doki Panic. Already looking much different from Super Mario Bros. 2, the game that Doki Doki Panic obviously was kind of the predecessor to. Although, we had no idea that that was what was going on over in the West, because there wasn't the internet where we could just look those kind of things up these days. So the story here is that two twins get sucked into the storybook, and the family goes in to save them, who you of course play as, and those are the characters that eventually became Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach in the Western version of Super Mario Bros. 2. And it just kind of keeps looping this until I now eject the disc once again from the console, flip it over the side B, and very gently push that back in, and now take a seat, because we can finally start playing. You thought that loading times were something that showed up around the PlayStation 1 era, but you would be mistaken. The disk system makes sure you get all of that loading time excitement way back in the 80s. I mean, I guess if, you were playing computer games, it wasn't that, out of the norm. So here we go. I would say this is kind of the first big difference, but I guess that title screen technically is already quite the oddity if you're used to Super Mario Bros. 2, but something very interesting about this game is that we actually get a level select screen which saves your progress. That's something that's so cool about it being on the Famicom Disk System, is that just like a lot of other games which were originally on the Famicom Disk System, including Castlevania and Metroid, they all had file select screens on them, so you could just save your progress. In the case of Castlevania, you couldn't save at all, and of course in Metroid there was passwords in the West. But yeah, that was just so cool to have that saving capability. And here we have the saving capability as well in Doki Doki Panic, because unlike Mario 2, where you just play through the game from beginning to end, doesn't matter what characters you use, doesn't matter if you skip levels, as long as you get to that level 7-2, that's the end of the game. But in Doki Doki Panic, you actually have to play through all of the levels with each of the characters, and then you have truly beaten the game. So it definitely feels much longer. Then, you're technically playing 80 levels instead of just 20. The original Mario 2 always did feel kind of short. You also can go back to levels that you have already cleared, so that, you don't have to completely wipe your data if you want to go back and play a level that you've already beaten, which is really nice, I think. So again, we have, the four characters here. We have Imajin, we have Lina, we have Mama, and we have Papa, again, who would of course become, the characters Mario, Luigi, Princess, and Toad in the North American release. I think what we're going to do is we're going to play one level with each of them, just to kind of see what some of the differences between the characters are, experiences what some of the differences in the levels are. And another difference you've probably already noticed if you're, accustomed to Super Mario Bros. 2, is that this song, as well as the next song you're going to hear, are actually shorter than they would become in Super Mario Bros. 2. They actually, lengthened those songs so that they weren't so short and repetitive when they brought Mario 2 to the West. Now, without further ado, though, let's actually jump into the game. Chapter 1-1, not World 1-1. And so far it's probably looking, pretty typical. Here we have the introductions of Shy Guys, who would hilariously become, a Mario staple in the future. And, this kind of series would just disappear as it became a Mario game. The grass is also not animated. That radish is looking the same, though. Proceeding onwards, again, it's just so strange, seeing those little details that are absent. The grass isn't animated. This music is also shorter. Just wanted to kind of let you listen to that, kind of weird cut there. It's so strange when, you're expecting the music to be longer, and then it's like, no, it just starts looping back to the beginning. The potion bottle is now a magic lamp, because, yeah, there's a whole Arabian theme going on. This would normally be the Mario 1 music. Or rather, of course, the Mario 2 rendition of the Mario 1 overworld theme. Cherries are not animated. Pow Block is not animated. But you know what is animated? The waterfall is going at like 1,000,000 miles per minute. Like, there was just a flood the other day, and that water has to go somewhere. I have no idea why they thought that speed made any sense. Especially considering that, the logs aren't falling at that speed. So why would they think the waterfall would have to go that speed? But that was, of course, fixed later on. 1-ups are actually just the face of the character that you are currently playing as. This is Imajin, the brother of the twins who were kidnapped. Bombs still exist. The shell is for some reason a face. I have absolutely no idea why. It's interesting because the invincibility item is actually still the star. There's definitely similarities that you can see between this game and the Super Mario Brothers games. I think the rumor is that originally this game was going to be a Super Mario Brothers game, and then they shelved it because they didn't like where it was going or something like that. And then later on, they kind of, brought it back, but turned it into a game with these characters instead. So, many people who've played Mario 2 will probably know that there's a secret on the other side of this gap. Another thing that's different about this game I have yet to mention is that there is actually no run capability. You can hold the B button and it does absolutely nothing. All B is good for is picking up enemies and items and throwing them. So, basically, you walk and that's as far as you can jump. And that makes this a lot scarier when you don't have, any kind of real speed to get you across. I don't think we're going to cheat, though. I think we're probably going to play this level the real way, at least the first time. But that is just another thing that makes this game so weird, is, just imagine playing Mario 2 and not being able to run. In Mario 2, the characters always run really quickly as well, which is kind of funny. Like, you just hold the B button and you're off. There's like, no time needed to get up to speed. So to play this game without any kind of run capability is very strange. There is, of course, still the hold down to get a high jump. That was something that was in the original game. But yeah, you have vines, you have the POW blocks, and it's funny, to this very day, I still get comments on a video I made of Super Mario USA. I think it was Random Game of the Day number 96, like way back when. And in that video, I accidentally forgot that the POW block first appeared in Mario Brothers, the arcade game, of course. I've played Mario Brothers many times, I knew that. But I made the incorrect comment that the POW block first appeared in Super Mario Brothers 2, and therefore it is something that originated in Doki Doki Panic and exists in the series because Doki Doki Panic became Super Mario Brothers 2. And to this day, I still get comments saying, no, Andrew, the POW block originated in Mario Brothers. So to all of you who may have watched that video and are watching this one, I understand that, and I apologize for the mistake. So this is the slot machine that you play with your coins you picked up throughout the level, and I don't think it could get much more basic than that. Let's see, let's try our luck. Yeah, it's definitely kind of surprising, I think, in many ways, the improvements that they made in Super Mario Brothers 2. Yay, finally a 1-up. Because, it's not just they took the characters and replaced them with Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach. Or I guess Princess Toadstool back then. I still don't understand that name change. There's so many funny name changes back in the day. Koopa became Bowser and all that jazz. But this is like, there's just no effort in this screen at all. And no effort in getting any extra lives there, apparently, either. And it takes you on to Chapter 1-2. But what I think we're going to do now is you're going to switch over to a different character. So I will see you in a minute. So Lina, the brother of Imajin and I guess the daughter then of Mama and Papa, plays a lot like Peach, where if you hold that jump button, she floats in the air. And have I totally toasted myself now? Because I was kind of messing around and not going immediately as I wanted to. So there, I still had enough time to get across to that magic carpet. And that's another change that, I totally did on purpose to demonstrate to you, is that when you only have 1 health left, the characters do not shrink as they do in Super Mario Brothers 2, which I guess they felt like they had to add in because in Mario 1, if you only have 1 hit left, you would be small. And I suppose in this game they figured that they would do that as well. Or rather, in Mario 2 they figured they would do that as well, but that was never actually something that happened in the original Doki Doki Panic. And wow, I just got toasted by that guy. And at least it killed the ninja, I guess. I was kind of messing around there and demonstrating things. But hey, let's take games seriously. This is what happens if you press the start button. I like that in the bottom right, it says the page number, because I mean, it's technically supposed to be a storybook, and that this, you know, level 2 would technically be, I guess, page 2. So if you get to the last level, I assume it would say number 20. I actually haven't, you know, beaten the entirety of this game. You know, Doki Doki Panic with all the characters. Something I definitely do plan to do. The save data that you saw here is actually this kind of what was on it after I bought it. And I, you know, didn't want to play it too much as I wanted to share the experience with everyone on YouTube first. So this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do that, get the heart, and now Phanto's not going to come and destroy you. Man, isn't that going to be, you know, a super nice thing. What I usually do when I play level 1-2 though, is I usually, since Luigi's the character I normally play Mario 2 as, is I do a thing like that. I think you bounce high enough, I should be able to do that, right? Oh, can I get up there? Maybe. Maybe if I did it at the absolute perfect time. But I think that's probably... Wow, it is just like a couple pixels short. I think that's going to be the most interesting part of playing Doki Doki Panic, though, is having to actually play levels in different ways depending on the character I'm using. I can't just, you know, pick the character who best suits each level, because I'm technically going to have to play every single level with every single character at some point. Thus, again, making the level, or rather the game, feel much longer, because I can't just, you know, use cheap tactics from time to time to skip parts with characters like Luigi or Peach. You can actually have to do things the legitimate way. Like, I can't remember the last time I've actually played this part of 1-2, because I usually just jump over the top. It's you know, maybe have even actually been like a decade since I've seen this. I think the mushroom is, it's actually not a mushroom in this game, it's a heart. There's supposed to be like eyes on it, or, you know, there's 2 dots on it for some reason. Not that you really need, you know, a whole bunch of health in this level. Says the guy who just died to Phanto, though. It's funny, because in the little bits of this game I've played before recording this, I didn't find that Phanto was nearly as aggressive in Doki Doki Panic compared to Super Mario Bros. 2, but then there you go. I just got killed by Phanto for the first time for all of you to see on camera. Birdo's, of course, still a thing, though. Birdo is just as weird as Birdo has always been. Kind of funny that Birdo is something that became a staple of the Mario 2 or rather, not just the Mario 2 universe, but the Mario universe as a whole. There's some slot machine skills going on. Ooh, 2 cherries, 2 up. And unfortunately, nothing there. And again, you know, there's no character select screen in between the levels, only in between the worlds. So now we're brought to 1-3, but I once again want to switch characters, so I will see you all in a second. Alright, so chapter 1-3 with Mama this time, and her ability is to jump higher and farther, and it definitely feels similar to the way that Luigi does in Super Mario Bros. 2, although I don't think she jumps quite as high. She definitely has the distance down, like she goes far, but I don't think that it's as high. Like if you just press A and jump, it doesn't look much more higher, or much higher than the other characters, rather, much more higher. You know, the things that playing this game will do. Also, did I just walk under cherries? Can I get that? Oh, I was going to try and do the thing where you drop down and get that, and then it cancels out of the subspace at exactly the same time that you come back to the regular area. But wow, okay. The character is very clearly 32 pixels tall, and yet they cannot pick up those cherries. And that's despite the fact that they don't shrink when they only have 1 health left. So there's absolutely no reason for their hit detection to only be the lower 16 pixels. I don't really know how to explain that one. Like, does that mean that enemies won't hit me or hurt me if they hit my top half? Like, that's a question that I would like to answer, although I don't think that there's any enemies that kind of only come at your, you know, top half at the moment. Can't jump on you because I would go right through you. I was very tempted to try and, you know, use them as a platform, but because of the star power, I would have fallen right through. It's this one? Yes. I should have known that from the start. Is the other mushroom in this area? No, it's not. I was off by a bit. So of course 1-3 is a level with a boss, and the boss will be Mouser. In Super Mario Bros. 2 there are only 2 Mouser fights, but in this game there's actually 3, and one of the other bosses is removed. This is of course still the warp to chapter 4, if used in Doki Doki Panic. And here we need to work our way upwards to get the key and then back down. Mushroom blocks have been replaced with some kind of strange mask thing. It's really bizarre. Like, I'm not sure, you know, why they thought that made any sense. Like, they could have been anything. It could have been crates. The whole theming of this game is just strange. Like, it has an Arabian theme to it, but then there's some things about it that's just like, I don't really even know. And what you were getting at, like, maybe that mask is in some way related to Arabia, but I guess I'm just not up to date on my history lesson. Another thing I don't think I mentioned the last time is that in Mario 2, when you pick up the key, it's usually one of the Phantos in the room itself that starts coming after you, but in this game, Phanto just kind of shows up out of nowhere when you return to the main area. Now this is what I mean by Phanto not being as aggressive, is I think that we can actually outrun him. To the point where now that we're down here, we really have absolutely nothing to worry about, where there's definitely kind of a rubber banding effect in the original Super Mario, or not, you know, in the original, in Super Mario Bros. 2, where Phanto will always kind of be right behind you, and you can't just outrun him like that. Like, there he is over there, like, you know, what are you even doing, Phanto? You can't hit me, I'm the gingerbread mama, or something like that. So, we have this kind of passageway here. Not something I see too often, is again, sometimes when I play Super Mario Bros. 2, I enjoy using the warp zones and stuff, just playing it kind of silly. I mean, you know, the game's not short enough already. I have to warp to World 4 to get it over with even quicker. I actually, you know, I like things like World 3, so, you know, skipping right to World 4 definitely isn't that fun. I mean, it's 20 levels. There's absolutely no reason to use warp zones in this game. And here is that Mouser fight as mentioned. In the Japanese version, or rather in Doki Doki Panic, it says, bomb, with no B at the end. But they added the B, I guess, so, you know, it made more proper English in the Western releases. I always thought it would make more sense if it said boom. Like, it doesn't really seem fitting for the explosion bubble to say bomb. You know, if you were, like, trying to do, like, a comic-styled sort of thing, boom definitely makes a lot more sense, because bomb's not a sound effect. Bomb is a noun. Kinda crazy how that works out there. And I think one more hit and Mouser should be done with. An enemy who I do not believe would ever return. It's funny how, you know, of all the elements that have returned from Mario 2 over the years, the bosses are not really ones that you ever see again. Not even like Wart, I don't think has ever returned. The closest thing that you really see to Mario 2 these days was like Super Mario 3D World, where you know, all the characters kind of have their different abilities and you can beat each of the levels with the different characters, and it actually records that very similar to how it records which levels you've beaten each of the characters with here. So now, for Papa, I think we're just going to do a quick run through Chapter 1-1. We're going to take the shortcut this time, just to kind of, you know, see if there's any differences with him. But as you can, you know, probably assume, he plays very similarly to Toad, where Toad's kind of main attributes are being able to pick things up quickly and speed, although, to be completely honest, in, you know, Doki Doki Panic here, I don't think that he's really much faster than the rest of them, maybe a slight touch. But Toad has just never really made any sense to me in Super Mario Bros. 2. It's like, I don't think there's any situation where being able to pick up things really fast is so important that you would sacrifice it over, you know, high jump height, or just an all-around balanced character, like Mario is. So, I just, you know, I never usually play as Toad, and I can imagine that the Papa run in this game is probably going to be one of the more interesting ones, and I probably could have made that jump if I had timed it better. Yeah, I don't think that Toad can make that jump, even if you do a high jump by holding down. So that's kind of fascinating. Can he make this jump though? Yes! Yes! The classic get lodged inside the wall trick. I think that there is a little, or rather there were some hit detection improvements in Mario 2 as well, because I've noticed a couple times when playing this. Like, again, I just got stuck inside that little kind of wall there. Like, can I do it again? Without even actually trying to. It's funny how you can't do it when you try. But, yeah, I don't think I've ever noticed getting stuck in corners that much in Mario 2. Where in Doki Doki Panic, it's definitely much more of a common thing. But here we go, suddenly right at Birdo. Again, it's another one of the situations where when we were playing this level the first time as Imajin, I don't see the part where you climb the vines too often, because it's just so much easier to use the shortcut. And, I mean, you know, skipping worlds is one thing, but skipping a part of a level like that, or, you know, in 6-3, there's not usually much reason in Doki Doki Panic to play through an entire level if there's a shortcut that lets you skip part of it. Like, sure, you might miss, you know, a heart or a mushroom or something that will give you a little bit more health, but generally, you know, you're not missing anything major enough that it really makes it worth it to play through the whole level if you know where the shortcuts are. Now, with all that said, I'm still continuing on to play the game, even though I think we've probably demonstrated what we want to see. Like, you can't make this jump, can you, Papa? Like, big jump. Ugh. It almost looks like he might be able to. I'm very curious. Although now I'm going to get killed by one of those things. I should really just go get the heart. Big jump. I was so sure. I wonder if I took the hit. Sometimes the bounce back from the hits actually lets you get a bit of height as well. I think that the heart's like right. No! I pressed up on the controller by accident just when trying to change my direction. With that said though, that's Doki Doki Panic. That's the end of this game. Play Mario 2. No, I actually think that the changes are really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to playing through the game all 4 times with these different characters, because again, I think it's going to add such a dynamic that I haven't really experienced before when playing Mario 2, because you can always pick the optimal character for whatever level it is you're facing, and I do like that element of strategy to it, but I also think that having to play through each of the levels with characters who aren't best suited for them will really make Doki Doki Panic a lot of fun, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing this video where, you know, we got to see some of the differences that were made. It was not just a graphic swap of the characters. There were lots of improvements done, and I think it's so cool that this game, you know, so many elements from it definitely became, you know, staples in the Super Mario Brothers series. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave your comments down below, you know, your opinions on Doki Doki Panic and Super Mario Brothers 2. And I hope to see you next time for something different. So thanks, and see you later.